the point behind the discussion that we are having today centers around the embarrassing element of Christians choosing to walk in unrighteousness and not standing for what God has called them to stand for. And I think that I can say this reasonably. I can make this assertion with great confidence. If we do not engage in this, if we do not get to the point where we're going to say enough is enough and start fighting this end times fight, we are deemed to become the first casualties of it. If we pretend as though somebody else is going to fix the problem, if we develop the mindset that says, well, God's coming soon anyway, so let it all go to hell, we're in big trouble. How is the plot thickening right now? Let's talk about the Middle East for just a second. Do you guys understand that for the first time since 2011, they are now talking about bringing Syria back into the Arab League? There's going to be more on that to come. I'm not going to get into the heavy duties of that. I'll probably do that in a video over the next few weeks, maybe the next few days, quite frankly. But the full and profound implications of something like that actually they stretch far beyond what people might think. Some people look at this and go, well, the Arab League bringing Syria back into the picture means that Syria is willing to comply with respect to the very thing that got them kicked out of the league in the first place, and that's the way that Assad was handling the civil war, or the way he created the civil war, and how he was destroying life in his own country. Well, that may very well be the case. But the reality of it is the bigger picture with the induction of Syria back into the Arab League centers prominently around the influence and pressure of Russia. Everybody goes, Russia, 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 Russia. Yeah, in the Middle East, it's all about Russia, 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 Russia. They're the big daddies. Understand, if a new rise in prominence comes from the association of the Arab League and Syria, what kind of validity that brings to the table with the functional maneuvering of Russia. You understand what's at stake? The civil war that's going on in Libya right now that Russia has its hands all in? When you think of the peace-making process that Russia is trying to get involved through its proxy in China? When you look at some of the more not talked about operations that are taking place in what we would call ancient day Babylon, modern day Iraq? Folks, when you begin to see the news stories that are emerging from that area and you connect the dots, you begin to realize we have got a big problem. I think this is really interesting. Understand the condition that we are currently in right now. The world is falling apart quickly. And really, if you want to look at the condition of the world that we live in right now, we've got to stop looking at America for just a second and spend some time looking at the condition of the Middle East, and we have confirmation of everything that we need to know is going on. Folks, the point behind the discussion that we are having today centers around the embarrassing element of Christians choosing to walk in unrighteousness and not standing for what God has called them to stand for. And I think that I can say this reasonably. I can make this assertion with great confidence. If we do not engage in this, if we do not get to the point where we're going to say enough is enough and start fighting this end times fight, we are deemed to become the first casualties of it. If we pretend as though somebody else is going to fix the problem, if we develop the mindset that says, well, God's coming soon anyway, so let it all go to hell, we're in big trouble. We're not in big trouble because we rely upon healthy things to be contingent upon our willingness to participate or not participate. We're in trouble because we're walking in disobedience to God, because God is actually asking us to do these things, and we're flipping God off by basically telling him we don't care. Now, that might sound crazy, and people might look at that and go, James, it's a little harsh, and it's like you're scratching on a chalkboard. But what would you rather do? Would you rather that I tell you something that sounds great and really looks and feels pretty and you burn in hell? Or would you rather that I actually expose the lie, tell the truth, and equip you to fight the war that God has called you to engage in? Folks, it's that simple. So there you have it, folks. The plot is undoubtedly thickened. It has gotten to a point where things are just crazy. What's coming next is brutal, which is why more than ever we need to be close to the Lord.